The February 4th, 2026 meeting of the Lower Merion Board of Commissioners. We have 5 meetings this evening. We have a Police Committee meeting, a Finance Committee meeting, a Public Works Committee meeting, a Parks and Recreation Committee meeting, and a Special Board of Commissioners meeting. Now, before we start, I ask that you silence your cell phones. Amplifying equipment is available for those who are having difficulty hearing. This room is also equipped with telecoil technology. And later, when the floor is open for public comment, we will first take comment from those who are present in the room, then we will turn to those who are attending virtually. We ask that you introduce yourself before beginning your comments. With that, we're going to turn to the first order of business for this evening. That's the Police Committee meeting, and I recognize its chair, Commissioner Russman.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm going to ask President Sanai, Manager McNeely, Superintendent Block to join me in the oval, please.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Rossman. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. It's a great evening for the Lower Merion Township Police Department. Tonight we have several things on the agenda, and the first that we have this evening is the promotion of our new Sergeant Officer, Daren Swain, who's being promoted to Sergeant. So it is my distinct pleasure to ask Daren to come forward with his wife, Casey, and their 3 children, Kennedy, Cameron, and Carter, to the Oval. And I would ask the Honorable Judge Steve O'Neill from the Court of Common Pleas for Montgomery County to come forward. He was going to, in a moment, deliver your oath. But prior to doing that, I just want to provide everybody a little bit of background about Sergeant Swain. He joined the Lower Merion Township Police Department in February of 2012. He had previously been employed as a Penn State University police officer from 2009 through 2012. Sergeant Swain is a graduate of the Northeast High School of Philadelphia and the Pennsylvania State University, graduating in 2009 with a Bachelor of Science in Crime, Law, and Justice. In November of 2009, he graduated from the Harrisburg Area Community College and received his Act 120 Police Academy certification. Since his hire at Lower Merion and during his tenure with the Lower Merion Township Police, he was initially assigned to the Operations Division as a patrol officer. On March 5th, 2018, he was assigned to the Special Operations Unit, the Bicycle Patrol Unit, and on January 4th, 2021, he went back to the Operations Division as a patrol officer. On December 20th of 2021, he was assigned to the Staff and Inspection Unit as our Community Resource Officer, and he did one phenomenal job in that position, and he will be sorely missed as he moves on to be promoted to Sergeant. He was promoted to the rank of Sergeant after qualified by the Civil Service Commission on November 20th, 2025, and was assigned as the Sergeant in Patrol Platoon Number 1 and 15 Car on 12/29/25. And again, Daren is here with his wife, Casey. He has his daughter, Kennedy, and his twin boys, Cameron and Carter. And Casey will be holding the Bible this evening, and Kennedy will be pinning her father with his sergeant's badge. At this time, I would like to turn this over to Judge O'Neill.
Thank you, Chief. Before I start, I've been a resident of the township for 72 years. I've been associated with the Lower Merion Police Department for 47 years now. I started as a young DA back in 1979 when the earth was still cooling for a lot of you, but I take a distinct honor. I really appreciate it each time the Chief taps me to come in, because I've been associated as an assistant DA, as a defender, as the county solicitor, and now as a judge for the last 24 years. And I gotta say, I know I'm a little bit biased in favor of the department, but it is unrivaled throughout the county. It truly is. So as you are being elevated now to the sergeant level and to all the new recruits that are coming in, it's an honor to serve for the Lower Merion Police Department because of the reputation and the unrivaled quality in which they comport themselves in this county and in this Commonwealth. So congratulations before I swear you in on that. Okay, are we about ready? All right, everybody's got a roll here. Doesn't matter, as long as you're in the picture. You can hear me. Okay, well, good. For everybody who does it, I have to say, state your name. I'll just go, I, and then state your name. I
Daren Swain,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
that I will enforce the laws impartially,
that I will enforce the laws impartially,
without regard to race,
without regard to race,
creed,
creed,
or color,
or color,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
of a police officer for the Township of Lower Merion and Borough of Narberth,
of a police officer of the Township of Lower Merion and the Borough of Narberth,
acting to the best of my ability.
acting to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Don't pinch him. Bad spot.
I think it was the first aid kit in my file. That's good. That's good. That's good. Perfect.
Do I sign anything? You want me to sign anything? Or is that
Congratulations, Sergeant Swain. Well deserved. At this time, I'm going to turn the microphone over before we have swearing in our new officers to our Township Manager, Ernie McNeely, for a few words.
Thank you, Andy, and welcome everybody. So nice to see everybody here tonight. We're here formalizing the promotion of Sergeant Swain. Congratulations. Plus, we're welcoming some new officers here tonight to the LMPD. But also, we're welcoming new officers to the family of Lower Merion Township employees. So to the new officers, welcome. We have an outstanding police department here, and you're joining a group of outstanding police officers authorized to have 136 officers. But again, you're also joining an overall family of township employees that runs to 428 full-time employees and as much as 370 some part-time employees at times. So you're joining a much bigger family here tonight as you begin your careers at Lower Merion PD. Both Sergeant Swain and all of you new officers have gone through an extensive vetting and testing process to get here tonight. And I'm sure new officers will find the LMPD a professional organization that you're going to be proud to serve. I'm also sure that you're going to find Lower Merion Township a great place to work, to reside, to live, to do business. It's a good place to serve. We ask our police officers to carry a pretty heavy burden to protect us from crime, enforce our laws, to help us in times of need. We ask you to do this while preserving everyone's rights, while acting with empathy, and to operate with the resources you're allocated, and succeed in an ever-changing environment where you got to make split-second decisions. But because of the process you've been through and because of the extensive training you will receive here in this great department, we know you're going to excel. I'm also confident that that Sergeant Swain and our new police officers joining this organization today will continue a reputation of being a great police department here in Montgomery County. Thank you.
Thank you, Township Manager McNeely. At this time, I'd like to turn the microphone over to the President of our Board of Commissioners, President Todd Sinai.
Thank you, Superintendent Block, and good evening, everyone. One of the greatest pleasures and honors that we commissioners have is to celebrate the promotions of our current officers and also the badging of the new officers and welcoming them to the Lower Merion Police Department. So first, Sergeant Swain, congratulations. It's a tremendous achievement. We're very proud having you on our force, and we look forward to all the wonderful things that you will continue to do and appreciate everything that you've already done. To our new officers, you are joining an outstanding and award-winning police department. Great departments are made up of great people, and the officers of command staff of the Lower Merion Police Department are an amazing group. They are dedicated, well-trained, and brave. LMPD officers are like this quarter's officer of the quarter, Matthew Callahan, who less than 4 years ago was standing where you will be standing tonight. In this last quarter alone, Officer Callahan has stopped multiple DUI drivers, pulled over a stolen car, and caught several individuals involved in retail theft. And LMPD officers are like those who coordinate with the FBI and Philadelphia Police Department to protect the residents of Ballackinwood after an armored truck robbery and to locate the suspects who are in hiding there. And LMPD officers are like those who helped take into custody safely an armed male who was suffering from mental health issues, was threatening people at the Overbrook train station. You are embarking on what can be a dangerous career, but you will find, as we all have seen, that your colleagues run towards danger, not away from it. They meet challenges head on, and they handle difficult situations with bravery, professionalism, respect, and integrity. You are making a commitment to care for and to protect the residents of Lower Merion Township, and we could not be more grateful for your service. This is a tremendous, and as Ernie said, a diverse township, and I encourage you to get to know the residents that will be in your care. Lower Merion has 64,000 residents spanning 15 ethnicities. More than 12% of our residents hail from other countries, and they come from every continent. Many of the rest come from elsewhere in the U.S. Indeed, only about half of Lower Merion's residents were born in Pennsylvania. Our population also is socioeconomically diverse. Some of our residents are literally among the wealthiest in the nation, yet nearly 6% of Lower Merion's population lives below the poverty level. Leaving aside all of these numbers, our residents are individual people, and they will need you, and they will rely on you. So let me say on behalf of the residents of Lower Merion Township, thank you in advance for your service and dedication. Sergeant Swain, thank you for the past dedication and service and what you will do going forward. Thanks as well to your family and loved ones whose support helped you to arrive at this place and whose devotion will help sustain you going forward. I look forward to you having a long and amazing career with the Lower Merion Police Department, so welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, President Sinai. At this time, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Commissioner Dr. Rossman, who is our chair of our police committee. Dr. Rossman.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good evening, Superintendent, members of the department, families, and honored guests. I have lived in this township for close to half a century. I've raised my family here, and like so many residents, I have watched this community grow and change. Through all those years, one constant has been my pride in our police department. When my children were young, and they are grown now, I told them something very simple. If you run into trouble, turn to the police. These men and women are here for us. They are our neighbors, our friends, and people we can trust. That belief is deeply personal to me, and it is a belief that this department has earned over time. Tonight, we welcome our newest police officers. You are beginning a career defined by service, responsibility, and public trust. By choosing to wear the badge, you have committed yourselves to protecting not only our streets and neighborhoods, but the confidence of the community that you serve. You're now part of a department with a proud tradition, and from this day forward, you help carry that legacy forward. We also gather here this evening to recognize a promotion within the department. Advancement in law enforcement is earned through experience, leadership, and the respect of one's peers. Being promoted to Sergeant, Sergeant Swain, reflects trust, judgment, and a readiness to lead. We congratulate you on this achievement and thank you for accepting the added responsibility that comes with it. Policing is not easy work. It depends on courage, discipline, sound judgment, and restraint. Whether you are just beginning your career or stepping into a leadership role, remembering that while the badge gives you authority, it is your character, your fairness, professionalism, and respect for others that gives you legitimacy in the eyes of the community. To your families, thank you for your support and sacrifice. To our officers, newly sworn and newly promoted, we are proud of you, grateful for your service, and we wish you safety, wisdom, and fulfillment in the years ahead. Thank you and welcome.
Bring each officer up individually and give the bio, and we're going to swear them in together. All five, so just give them that. I'm going to call each one of our individual new officers up to the Oval. When you hear your name, please come up to the front and stand before the commissioners and the command staff. Officer Michael Reynolds. Officer Michael Reynolds is 28 years of age, and he resides with his wife, Leah, and they've lived in the Springfield Township, Delaware County. He's a graduate of Ridley Township High School. Officer Reynolds has attended Penn State University, Brandywine, and Newman University, earning a combined 90 college credits between both schools. Prior to seeking employment with the Lower Merion Township Police Department, he was employed by QVC as a global security operator. He recognized that he wanted more challenging and long-term career and work in which he could help people and give back to the communities. Michael was hired by the Lower Merion Township Police Department as a probationary police officer on May 2nd, 2025. He attended the Temple University Police Academy in Ambler, Pennsylvania, graduating on October 10th, 2025. Officer Reynolds earned the distinction from his classmates as being selected as the class speaker for his graduating class. He was certified by the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission as an Act 120 certified police officer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania on October 15th, 2025. He completed his in-house training and was assigned to Patrol Platoon Number 1, where he formally completed his department field training program and began unescorted patrols on December 31st, 2025. Officer Reynolds' badge number is going to be number 93 when he receives that this evening. Officer Sean Boyer. Officer Sean Boyer is 21 years of age and resides in Havertown, Pennsylvania. He's a graduate from the Monsignor Bonner High School in Drexel Hill and enrolled in Moravian University, where he was awarded a Bachelor's of Arts in Sociology in May of 2025. While attending Moravian University, Sean was a police communications dispatcher with the Moravian University Police Department and a member of the lacrosse team. Prior to being hired by Lower Merion Police Department, he was employed by the Delaware Natural Resources Police. This was an unarmed position within the organization where his responsibilities were to interact with visitors, respond to calls for service, and check on security areas of the property. Officer Reynolds is a volunteer firefighter with the Brookline Volunteer Fire Company in Havertown and has served in this capacity since December of 2020. He is also certified as a Pennsylvania State Emergency Medical Technician. When he was asked why he wanted to be a police officer in Lower Merion Township, he indicated he wanted a career where he could help people, be physically active, and work outside. In Lower Merion, he has said that he would be able to work with the community where the residents respect the police officers and for a large police department that offered numerous training opportunities in different units. Officer Boyer was hired by the Lower Merion Township Police Department as a probationary police officer on June 27th, 2025, entered the Montgomery County Police Academy in Bluebell the following week. He graduated from the Police Academy on December 10th, 2025, and was certified by the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission as an Act 120 police officer on December 12th, 2025. He completed his in-house training and was assigned to the Patrol Platoon number 3, where he is presently completing the Department Field Training Program. And his badge number this evening is number 138. Officer Philip DiWilliams. Officer Philip DiWilliams is 28 years of age and resides in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Officer DiWilliams is a legacy with several of his family members in law enforcement, to include the Pennsylvania State Police and the Philadelphia Police Department, where his grandfather was an inspector with 30 years of service. Philip is a graduate of the Roman Catholic High School in Philadelphia and attended Jefferson University, acquiring 73 credits while attending the business school. In 2021, Philip was hired and employed at the St. Jude shop in Havertown as a warehouse manager. In considering a career change to policing, Philip said he wanted to make a difference and truly help others in their time of need. Philip was hired by the Lower Merion Township Police Department as a probationary police officer on June 27, 2025, and then entered the Montgomery County Community College Academy in Bluebell the following week. He graduated from the Police Academy on December 10, 2025, and was certified by the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission as an Act 120 police officer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He completed his in-house training on December 12th and was assigned to Platoon number 4, where he is presently completing Department Field Training Program. His badge number this evening that will be assigned to him is badge number 45. Officer BRYN Rickus. Officer BRYN Rickus is 36 years of age. He's a graduate of Father Judge High School and earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice from Rosemont College. BRYN and his wife, Melanie, reside in Huntington Valley with their 4 daughters. BRYN was hired by the Philadelphia Police Department in 2015. After graduating from the Philadelphia Police Academy, class number 373, Officer Rickus was assigned a footbeat in the 24th District in Kensington, and shortly thereafter to the 17th District as a patrol officer. He was promoted to the rank of sergeant with the Philadelphia Police Department on October 2022. And his last assignment as a sergeant was in Platoon A of the 26th Police District. Why Lower Merion Township Police? Officer Rickus stated that he had heard nothing but positive attributes about this police department. He further related that the schedule and the salary were significant factors in his decision-making, which would provide a better life-work balance for him and his family. BRYN was hired by the Lower Merion Township Police Department as a probationary police officer on November 17, 2025. After completing his in-house training, he was assigned to Patrol Platoon number 2 and completed his field training officer program, and has been assigned unescorted patrol since January 23rd, 2026. His badge number that he receives this evening will be badge number 104. Mitchell Cuzzolina. Officer Mitchell Cuzzolina is 29 years of age, currently residing in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. He graduated from STEM Academy in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, and attended the University of Pittsburgh, where he earned 82 credits towards a degree in mechanical engineering. Officer Cuzzolina served with the United States Army from 2019 through 2024, and we thank you for your service. Using his benefits from the GI Bill, he enrolled and attended the Delaware County Community Police Academy, graduating in December of 2025. Officer Cuzzolina was selected as the Police Academy Class Sergeant while attending the Academy. Mitchell credits a close family friend who is an FBI agent with his interest in pursuing a career in law enforcement. His time in the United States Army also drew Mitchell towards a career in service to others. Mitchell was hired by the Lower Merion Township Police Department on October 20th, 2025 as a probationary police officer while still a student at the Police Academy. He successfully passed his Act 120 certification test on December 9th, 2025 and began his in-house training with the Police Department. On December 29th, 2025, he was assigned to Patrol Platoon number 3, where he is presently completing Departmental Field Training Program. His badge that he will receive tonight, his badge number is number 41. These are the bios and the great work that we have here And these officers are standing before us tonight because of our commitment by our officers and our command staff that have brought these individuals through our recruitment process and the background investigation. And at this time, I would ask Judge O'Neill to present these officers with their oath, and the command staff will assist with the Bibles.
All right, gentlemen, this is kind of going to be like a choral work here. We'll see if we can stay in the cadence. I'd love to just have you all say, "I swear," but we're going to see if we can get through this. I state your name individually. You got to state it.
I, Philip DiWilliams. I, Michael Reynolds. I, Sean Boyer. I, Brian Rickus.
I, Mr. Cuzzolina.
Here we go. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
that I will enforce the laws impartially
that I will enforce the laws impartially
without regard to race,
without regard to race,
creed,
creed,
or color,
or color,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservations
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of police officer for the Township of Lower Merion and Borough of Narberth.
of the office of police officer for the Township of Lower Merion and the Borough of WAIVER,
Almost done. Acting to the best of my ability.
acting to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Do good work. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And at this time, I'd ask the officer family members to come forward to pin their badges, please. Gentlemen, while you're receiving your badges, this badge is your sign of authority to be able to enforce the law impartially in Lower Merion Township when people come in. You have integrity, and never, never compromise that integrity. That badge tells people that you are a sworn officer, and the protection of life and property is what you do on a daily basis. So please wear it in great health and great integrity. Thank you. While the officers are receiving their badges, I would like to thank our Township Manager, Ernie McNeely, and our Board of Commissioners for the support that they provide on a daily basis to our police department. That's what makes Lower Merion such a great place to live and work. I thank you all. Now that they've received their badges, let's give them another round of applause and congratulations. Congratulations. Well done. Well done. Congratulations. Yes, you may return to your seats. Thank you. At this time, I'd ask everyone to rise as we retire the colors from the ceremony. At this time, we'd like to invite the officers and Sergeant Swain and their family members over to the police department for refreshments and a little reception. And at this time, I will turn the microphone back over to our police chair, Dr. Rossman. Thank you.
We can't break for refreshments? We can't break for refreshments?
You look good, though. You do.
Let's just stay at place.
How you doing, right? Good. How are you, Shub? Doing well.
How's the new practice?
I must admit, overwhelming. I feel like I can keep like 3 of the 5 balls in the air at any point, and 2 of them are just like kicked in the other room.
Does it feel like the legal work is not the easy part, and just running a business is like where all the effort's going, the marketing and
Yes.
stuff? Yeah.
The legal part is the easy part. Although Dan will appreciate this. I got notice yesterday at 3:30 for the first time of a hearing.
Sometimes.
They don't have enough of anything.
These things used to be at Talk Equipment. Meeting like this.
Oh, yeah.
And Andy gave us bathrooms and everybody. It's really good. We never got that before. Is that right? He didn't. He wasn't a people person.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
He wants to make the officers and the families welcome. He did that.
Exactly. You're sticking around, yeah.
There's a great smile and good way about it. You feel good when you talk to him. Yeah. You may agree or disagree with him, but you will never see it. And his answers are BS. We used to get BS answers from Mike.
I think we can restart.
We go?
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll make their way out. Okay.
This wasn't.
You're gonna have to start or else I won't shut the door.
Good luck. All right?
Okay. Going to continue with the meeting. There's a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners authorizing the Township Secretary to advertise notice of intent to adopt an ordinance to amend the Code of the Township of Lower Merion, Chapter 145, thereof entitled Vehicles and Traffic. Article 15 schedules Section 145 to 119, Schedule 19, Special Purpose Parking Zones. By adding a no parking zone, trucks only on the south side of Old Lancaster Road in Haverford from a point starting 176 feet west of West Montgomery Avenue and extending westerly the distance of 94 feet. May I have a second? Commissioner Zella, thank you very much. I'd like to call in Jerry Adams and ask you to explain, please.
As always, thank you for your time. What we have before you is relatively simple. We have a pinch point on Old Lancaster Road, is at the Montgomery Avenue and Grays Lane intersection in Haverford. What occurs here is that parked cars that are permitted to park here for 4 hours are often causing a pinch point which does not allow traffic to flow properly from either Montgomery Avenue or Grays Lane, onto Old Lancaster, traveling south towards Lancaster Avenue. So what we've proposed is to remove 94 feet of 4-hour parking and switch that over to a no parking loading zone, trucks only. This will extend the no parking here to corner significantly and make it a lot easier for vehicles to travel through this intersection. Also, the primary location that is impacted by this is La Chanterelle, which is pretty much at the corner of Montgomery Avenue and Old Lancaster. They have a small horseshoe access driveway in the front that they utilize for loading, but larger box trucks cannot utilize that, so it forces those trucks into their rear parking area. But again, our primary reason for being here is the issues that occur on both Montgomery Avenue and Grays Lane with the reduced travel roadway or cartway.
Thank you. I'd like to open the floor for public comment.
Stand here?
Whatever you like, but we prefer coming up here to this microphone, please.
You've got to come over here.
And just the rules, we try to limit the words to 3 minutes, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
you can hear it. All right.
Go.
I'm Charlie Oglesby. I'm the treasurer of La Chanterelle Association. Our president couldn't be here. He's out of town. And the fellow who brought this to the township's attention is also out of town. So they designated me to represent the 33 residents of La Chanterelle who are all in favor of this change. And I can't speak for the rest of Old Lancaster, but this is really needed. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, a fellow that, Scott, you'll know, West Spar, said to me, they shouldn't allow parking in front of your building because it's a nightmare coming up trying to get, he lives in Paoli, but so we're all in favor of it and we hope that it happens. And then enforcement. I think you're going to have an issue with enforcement, but thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on Zoom?
No one has their hand raised.
There's nobody?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Zeloff.
Commissioner Rossman, this is about safety on a very narrow Old Lancaster Road that comes right into 4-lane Montgomery Avenue, and this is important to do. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Opposed? It passes unanimously, Madam Secretary. Thank you. We're now going to have the police activities statistics report. There is no action on this item, and Superintendent Block will review statistics related to the police department activity, such as traffic stops, community, policing efforts, and crime.
Thank you, Dr. Rothman. It's my pleasure to present our latest activity report, and we'll focus on the last quarter, the fourth quarter of 2025. A couple of events that we just had or we are having. We recently had our most recent Coffee with a Cop. That was on January 28th. It was originally on the 26th, but we postponed it due to the snowstorm. And that was held at the Spread Bakery in the Wynwood Shopping Center. It was well attended. On February 9th, I'm very happy to report that at this point, tentatively, PennDOT and GATSCO will be starting the construction at the intersection of Remington and Lancaster for the installation of our RLE cameras, the automated red light enforcement cameras, which we've been waiting a long time for this. So the first one should be underway on February 9th, depending on the weather. On February 23rd, we're very happy to report that we're starting our next Citizens Police Academy class here at the police station. It's a 10-week program that runs on Monday evenings from 6 to 8. There are still spots available, so if anybody is interested in attending this, please, if you go sign onto the web, you'll see the registration page, and we'd ask people to sign up. I think everybody that goes through this program finds it to be an unbelievable experience. They learn from us, our residents learn from us, and we learn from our residents in every one of these academies that we have. I'm also happy to report that for the quarter, we've had over 45 community events, training, and outreach activities. I will not go over all of them, but I will highlight a few of them. We're providing situational training and awareness, as well as active shooter training for several organizations throughout the township, one of them being Mainline Health with Bryn Mawr Hospital and Lankenau Hospital, and their outpatient facility at 306 Lancaster Avenue. It's important training, so we work with Mainline Health on that. I'm happy to report that we had our on-site CALIA inspection for our reaccreditation for the national accreditation for our police department. I have to attend the formal conference in March in Tucson, Arizona for the final on that, but everything that occurred on site, we got a very, very favorable report on it, so I do believe that we'll be reaccredited come March. There were school visits that were conducted throughout the quarter. We also participated in many Halloween events and also the lockdown drills. On the 25th of October, we had our police open house that we do annually, as well as our drug take-back. And then we also worked with our partners with the Town Watch, and Matt Peskin was here earlier this evening as well. We did an alcohol awareness presentation for Lower Merion High School. We participated in the Special Olympics Unified Fall Fest torch run from Philadelphia out to Villanova. Law enforcement always supports the Special Olympics, so that was a big day. On November 9th, we attended a first responder service, myself with Sergeant Murray and Officer Krista Callahan at the St. Christopher's Church in Gladwin. Following the service, clergy members blessed our vehicles, the police, fire, and EMS vehicles that were there. And we had another coffee with a cop on November 12th at Dunkin' Donuts in Ardmore. There was a vaping awareness presentation that officers did, Sergeant Swain and Officer Smith at Lower Merion High School on November 24th. And one of the other highlights that I want to bring up here is we had our Police Minority and Relations Committee meeting on December 8th. We have active threat situational training again at Ardmore Presbyterian Preschool. And a very special day on December 11th, our Police Lieutenant Ed Sarama graduated from the FBI National Academy. He was the session 296 on December 11th at Quantico, Virginia, and I had the pleasure of being there for the graduation. He attended the academy from September 28th, 2025 through December 11th, completing 11 weeks of advanced law enforcement leadership training, including management coursework, team building, exercises, networking seminars, and intensive physical training. He was one of 253 law enforcement leaders selected for that session, representing less than 1% of senior law enforcement officers nationwide. So they just don't let anybody in the FBI National Academy. And it's accredited through the University of Virginia. And I'm also happy to report that I'm a graduate. I was in session 250 in 2012. So it was a pleasure to be able to have Lieutenant Sarama attend that. That is basically what we had as far as the overview of our community engagement. Some crime trends and our statistics for the fourth quarter. During the fourth quarter of 2025, the following major crimes were reported in the department. We had, thankfully, no homicides reported, no sexual assaults, no robberies reported. There were 26 assaults that were reported, 8 burglaries. There were thefts. There were 174 thefts. And there was also 53 thefts and attempted thefts from motor vehicles, and 22 thefts of motor vehicles. I want to key on this a little bit because these are the areas that we're having issues with the theft from vehicles, the theft of motor vehicles, and the retail thefts. And this is where we're focusing right now for 2026 with some of our strategic planning. We are going to do some advertising and campaigns regarding the theft of vehicles and theft from vehicles, simply because most of these vehicles are left unlocked during the overnight hours and valuables are left in there. So it's preventable. If our residents are informed to make sure they lock the vehicles, there'll be less threat of becoming a victim. And also with some of the theft of our motor vehicles, when the vehicles are taken, they're left unlocked with the keys in it. So again, we're going to do some campaigning with this to make sure that people are aware what we need them to do. We've been providing patrols to those areas where these thefts have been occurring throughout the fourth quarter. Some monthly arrests that we had for the fourth quarter of 2025. There are 31 DUI arrests, 33 retail theft arrests, 14 assault arrests, 6 arrests for burglary, 4 for firearms violations, 3 terroristic threat violations, 3 Act 64 narcotics violations, 2 criminal mischief and vandalism arrests, 2 protection from abuse orders. There were violations where we made the arrest. There were 2 forgery arrests, 2 outstanding warrants where 2 individuals were arrested on those outstanding warrants, 1 indirect criminal contempt, 1 neglect of a child, 1 harassment, and 1 crash involving injuries. The other thing I wanted, just some current events before I finish up with our other statistics. As we know, we just had the recent significant snowstorm. To date, our officers have responded to 253 sidewalk complaints where residents have not cleared their sidewalks, and we continue to do that. So I want the board just to be aware of it, that we take that very seriously, and we continue to work with the residents. If they do not clear those sidewalks in a timely manner, they face receiving a citation where they will either pay a fine or they could take it before the district justice. And on our spring campaign, which we're currently underway with, we have 408 applicants that have registered for the examination. That will take place on March 21st, 2026. Our calls for service for the fourth quarter were 15,271 calls. And this brings us for calls for service for the total year were 62,774 calls that our officers responded to and answered. That averages about 174 calls per day in a 24-hour period. So the officers are busy handling these calls when they come in. Majority of them are 911 calls. Our public contacts and appearances were 118. Department tours of the police department were 3. Our car seat checks were 36. Our school program, where we're in the schools doing different types of programs and instructions, were 36. Residential commercial surveys and lockdown drills, there were 15 that were conducted. Our vacant house checks while our residents were away were 422. Our social media was very active with 90 posts. Our Blackboard Connect alerts were 6. Our foot patrols were 3,564 patrols were conducted over the fourth quarter. Our Lock for Life program, there were 6 installations for township residents. Our co-responder responded to 135 contacts and follow-ups from the officers. Our motor vehicle violations were 2,361 for 2025 fourth quarter. There were 1,957 traffic citations issued, 404 trafficteria, which are parking tickets, 1,058 traffic violation notices, which are warnings for people that are stopped for various reasons. There was 1,604 faulty equipment notifications. They are when we stop a vehicle, if somebody has a taillight out or headlight out, they receive that to have it repaired. And there, for the fourth quarter, there were 2,895 school bus camera violations that were approved and processed. Lastly, as many of us are aware, and I know the board is aware of this, we had an incident on January 30th on Overbrook Parkway where there was activity with ICE. And as a result of that, the police department is aware of the community's concerns following the federal ICE enforcement action on January 30th, during which a vehicle stop resulted in 2 individuals being taken into custody. We understand that events like this can leave our residents feeling on edge, and we want to provide clarity about the role and our commitment to you and our community. The Lower Merion Police Department does not participate in the federal 287G program. This program allows local police to be deputized as federal immigration agents to perform tasks such as checking immigration status or processing deportations. We do not engage in federal immigration enforcement. If you observe police activity and there are no marked Lower Merion police units present, we ask you to call 911. We will respond to the scene to verify that legitimate law enforcement activity is occurring. While we respond to the 911 calls, Lower Merion Police Department will not interfere with federal law enforcement acting within their legal authority. It is important for everybody to know that federal authorities are not legally required to notify us, the local police, of their operation. ICE did not inform us of the enforcement action on January 30th. We recognize the passion of our community. Our officers are here to ensure that every resident may safely exercise their First Amendment rights while we strive to maintain peace throughout our community. We want to recognize our residents for their vigilance and care for their neighbors during this time. Your commitment to a safe, inclusive Lower Merion helps us perform our jobs more effectively. And if you have any concerns about activity in your neighborhood, we want to be the first to be called on that. So that's a statement that we have, and we had put that out on our social media pages today. So that concludes my report, and I will open up open for questions.
Thank you.
Point of information?
Yes.
Point of information?
Point of information?
Okay. May I ask a question?
Well, through the chair. I've just said, I was going to ask for a comment, but thank you, Superintendent Block. Are there any public comments or comments from the board? Point of information.
You have public comment first.
Oh, public comment, please. And then we'll, okay.
Right. You do public first, and then you do...
Adrian Seltzer, Winwood.
Thank you.
First, I would like to, I left my phone home with all my notes, so this is a little rough, so please be patient with me. Congratulations to Sergeant Swain, who I know from being around, on his promotion to sergeant. It is well-deserved. He is a great officer and wonderful human. And welcome to our new officers. And so, let me see which way. Thank you, Superintendent Block, for your prompt responses to my questions about the incident on Overbrook Parkway and potential Lower Merion responses. I was particularly moved in light of that incident that the oath the police officers say that they will defend the Constitution against all actors, foreign and domestic. And knowing the Fourth Amendment and several others, there's a lot of ICE activity that is not following the Constitution. I humbly, because you said something about it, I don't have to request that public comment be opened. But Haverford Township has a resolution about how they react with ICE, and that's somewhere that's public. Narberth is voting on one tonight. I truly hope that Lower Merion joins them and other municipalities throughout the state in making public their actions and their commitment to working to protect, as President Sinai said, our diverse township. There are people who live here that don't look like me and don't look like most of you, that even though they are either naturalized citizens, have legal status, or were born here, are still afraid. And I think that it's up to all of you to help quell that fear as much as possible, which I know is not enough. That's not your fault. There just can't be. And I want to thank all of you for your service, and know that people are afraid, and we need to say something and not just have something that is off the books. We need a formal response. The more of us that stand up to this unconstitutional behavior, the sooner it'll end. So I hope you will take that into consideration, and I thank you very much.
Any other comments from the floor? Madam Secretary, any comments on Zoom?
I'll give another one here.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you all. I was very reassured by the superintendent's comments about the response to what happened in Penwyn. I'm a naturalized citizen of this country. I chose to become a citizen of this country. I gave up the citizen of my country at my birth.
Ma'am, could you speak into the microphone so we can
Sure.
hear you a little better?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm a naturalized citizen of this country. And I have lived in the township for close to 40 years. I have worked here. I used to be a professor at Haverford College. I very recently retired. My son grew up here. He went through the Lower Merion School District, got an excellent education there, and he's doing really well. And he hopes to bring his family back here and raise his family here. That's the extent of his love for this community. Over the years, I put down my roots, and I have built a community here. And this is my home. And so these events have kind of, as Adrian Seltzer mentioned, they have touched a nerve in me. I used to feel safe here. I don't feel, I worry about being stopped and being subject to what has come to be called a Kavanaugh stop because of the color of my skin, because I speak with an accent that's not American. So I now know what to do if I'm stopped. I'll call 911. But I still have some questions. What happens when I call 911? What will the police department do? What can they do? Will they protect me from, I have done nothing. I don't expect to have anything on my record that will justify the US government from denaturalizing my citizenship. But, you know, whatever happens, what is the Lower Merion? Yeah, that's my question. It's a very open-ended question, and I come to you for clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to save any comments that people have from the board till all the public comment is finished. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Reverend Barbara Abbott. I'm an Episcopal priest.
And again, would you hold the microphone up to you? Or
My name is
you can take it out if you like.
Take it out? My name is Reverend Barbara Abbott. I'm an Episcopal priest, and I'm associated with St. Mary's Ardmore on Ardmore Avenue, 36 Ardmore Avenue. I also live in the district. I'm at 110 Landfair Road. My question concerns, again, preparation for ICE activity should it come our way. As you may know, the Ardmore Food Pantry is host to up to 200 guests on Mondays, mornings and evenings. Some of our guests are frail elders, some are disabled. We do not have information about their immigration status. Our assumption is almost all are citizens, but that may not be entirely accurate. We've created a protocol for how to handle an ICE activity. So we have Sentinel watching parking lots. We have an area that is a designated private space that can be locked if agents approach. My question goes to the 911 call. So we have locked our doors. We are inside with our guests. We've called 911, and I would like to know how the police would proceed when they arrive. For example, we'd like to be able to train our sentinels to know what to expect and to know under what circumstances they would have to open the door, or if they could keep that door locked and deny access. That's my question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Maura McInerney, and I live in Wynwood, and I really am very, very grateful for the statement, Superintendent Block, that you just made. We greatly appreciate it. I'm also one of the co-leaders of the Havertown Action Community Network and co-leader of the Immigration and Refugees Action Group. My question to you, and I know there are a lot of questions, a litany of them just now, but we'd like to understand what information that the police department might be collecting as part of that 911 call, recognizing that, and also I think to clarify another question that came up, will you review warrants that may be presented and determine whether or not they're judicial warrants? And so that would be a helpful thing. But we also have a lot of families who are being separated right now, and a lot of families who don't have any information. In many of these instances that we're aware of, we have people who are showing up, they don't identify themselves, a person is detained, and there's no information about where they are. It would be very helpful to our neighbors, to our community members, if someone could provide some more information so that they know what to track. The A number would be helpful. Any information that's collected by the police would be helpful. It's really, really difficult. We have a lot of families who are really literally being torn apart and children who are afraid to go to school. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor? Madam Secretary, anybody on Zoom?
No one has their hand raised, so.
No? Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Point of information?
Do you want to get answers from Andy?
President Sinai?
Yeah, I was going to suggest the same thing. I would like to first start to hear from Superintendent Block, maybe some of the answers to the 911 questions.
Yes, so in the event that there is a situation at your establishments or your homes, if you call 911 in Montgomery County, that goes to the Montgomery County Communications Center in Eagleville. You explain to them what's going on in the address, so the Lower Merion Police Department will then have an officer dispatched to the location to conduct an investigation to see exactly who's there and what their standing is with that. There's a lot of variables that we don't know until we arrive there, and if they are federal agents or ICE representatives, we want to see what type of documentation they have as far as warrants. We do honor the judicial warrants because they are vetted and they are signed based on probable cause by a magistrate, a federal magistrate. There are administrative warrants that are issued within their organizations, which we don't recognize at this point simply because we don't know who the approving authority is, unlike the judge in those situations. So we will do our best to investigate what is occurring at the time. From other agencies that we've spoken to where they've had contact with ICE, significant contact with ICE, a lot of times they will not provide that information. So in those situations, there's little that we can do at that point. We'll take those reports. We will work with our district attorney's office. That'll be a report that we will send up to our district attorney's office and speak with them as well with that. And also, we did it on Friday when we had the incident in Penwyn. I contacted our regional representative for the FBI office, which is out of Fort Washington, that covers Montgomery County, and I had a discussion with him about the activity, and he's looking into that as well on what occurred with the ICE situation in Penwyn. So there's different ways that we look at it to investigate it. We grab the information as much as we can and we will investigate it. If it's a situation where they do not have any warrants, then they shouldn't be entering buildings in those situations, because we don't. We abide by the Constitution and due process. So that's how we proceed with these. They're delicate situations because a lot of times we don't know why they're there. We're not notified of it, as was the case on Friday in Penwyn.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Block. And I want to just respond to some of the comments. And I appreciate it very much. And this is something that in the township has been on our mind for a while. While people were making a comment, I looked back through my emails. So it was June of 2025 that I emailed Superintendent Block and Ernie McNeely and Assistant Township Manager Ford. And I said, I would find it helpful if we could all discuss how LMPD would handle the situation if unidentified armed persons showed up in the township looking to take alleged illegal immigrants into custody. Okay? That is back last June. And it will come as no surprise that the superintendent was already thinking about it when I raised that question. It is a question of, when we think of our police department as one of their prime responsibilities is keeping the peace in the township. That keeping the peace extends fairly broadly. And I think that we think of that as the mandate. And everyone's working very hard to be effective at that. I think no one wants to see a showdown in the streets of Lower Merion. I think we want to head that off. Having ways to have people whose allegiance is to this township and the residents of this township there and present whenever things are going on seems to be the best way we can have to keep peace in this township. I will say this is something that I've been thinking about, personally, in part because it has affected members of my family, relatively recently. When we were talking about gas-powered leaf blowers, I mentioned I have family living in Evanston, Illinois. That is a community very much like Lower Merion that experienced this many, many months before anything happened in Philadelphia. I have a daughter who lives in parts of Chicago and is a teacher there, and their communities have been, fearful because ICE activity and CBP activity is very present in the blocks that they are living in. I pray that we do not have to go through that, but if we do, we will be prepared. Beyond that, Ms. Seltzer raised a question about Havertown. So there is a, Ernie, there is an act, was it 178 or?
287.
287, sorry.
287G.
Yeah, so can you just say a little bit about our participation in that or not?
Well, as Superintendent Block said, I mean, we do not participate. We do not have a 287G agreement that would make us immigration enforcement agents for the federal government. The resolution in Haverford Township, they passed a resolution to say they will not have a 287G agreement. Nobody asked them to, but they passed a resolution saying they wouldn't anyway. But we do not have one, and Superintendent Block has verified that.
It is a tactical question whether we need to proclaim that we will not do something that we're already not going to do. So far, we have chosen not to do that, and that is just a question of navigating the times that we are in. Anyway, thank you very much, Dr. Rossman.
Commissioner Bernheim. Thank you very much, Commissioner Rossman. First, Superintendent, thank you. What we saw earlier this evening was really quite remarkable, and I have no doubt that the fact that we were able to attract such highly qualified new members to our police department is in part because of your leadership. With that, I have a question for you. From the statistics that you rolled out, one that is a true sticker shock is where the school bus camera violations approved 2,895. And that's for just the fourth quarter of 2025, or?
That's correct.
That's beyond amazing. So a question for you, though. When it says it's approved, what's the next step after that? Citations, fines, ring them around the neck for being so absolutely irresponsible? What's the continuum?
So when the officers view the video, they approve it, it goes back to the company Bus Patrol that we work with and the school district works with. They process the violation, and then it's a civil penalty. It is sent to the vehicle owner, which the license plate was captured on the video. So the vehicle owner receives the civil citation in the amount of $300 along with a link where they can see the actual violation. They can log on, put that link in their browser, and they will see the violation with their vehicle. So then they have two options. One is obviously to pay the $300 fine. It's a civil penalty. There are no points assessed against anyone's licenses. There are no license suspensions. Or they can plead not guilty to it, and then they would have a hearing before a PennDOT official for the violation itself. If they do not care for the ruling with the PennDOT official, then they would appeal it to our local district court.
Okay. Do we have the statistics as to what has transpired with these approved violations, whether they've just paid the fine, anyone's contested the fine?
That's a good question. We can go back to Bus Patrol to find out how many individuals paid the fine versus how many have pled not guilty to it. I can tell you we have not had any at the district court level at this point. So if they do have the administrative hearing with the PennDOT officials, we're not made aware of it, but we can get that data to find out.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know, and then hopefully we start to see this number decrease as people learn that it will be costly, and I'm sure if we circulate this number, there will be a similar reaction to other members of our community, like, wow, that's amazing, and hopefully it'll get people to pay some attention of being a little bit more careful around school buses.
It's a great point. With my experience with this, not only here and my previous position as chief in Upper Moreland, the numbers remain constant, and that's unfortunate. We were averaging anywhere between 275 and 300 violations a month there, and here we're averaging almost 1,000 violations a month. So we don't see the decrease, and that's disturbing.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have to look into, upping the ante or something else about this, because that really is just remarkable. But again, thank you for everything from this evening and being able to provide us with this, and we'll look into this further, I have no doubt.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Dr. Rossman.
Commissioner Zoll.
Thank you, Commissioner Rossman. Superintendent, the data is, thank you for it. It's quarterly, so I hope that we'll hear about this from you in future quarters going forward. And I know that it's been asked earlier today, and you'll but to provide some comparative data, particularly on speed enforcement. My sense is, and you've said it, that speed enforcement has increased, and I think the data will be very helpful. And I thank you for that, and I expect that that speed enforcement throughout the township will continue because it's the top of the list for commissioners, and has been for us for some time. I also want to thank you for being proactive. We got the email today. You read it tonight. You're going to publicize it. I presume that our PIO will also work with LMPD in publicizing it, because we are saying something. The police department has said something and explained it very well. And so that is the right way to do this, in my views. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank
And
you,
that
Commissioner
just,
Rossman.
Commissioner's office, just to let you know, that has already been published on our social media pages on the township as well as the police departments. That occurred this afternoon. So we're embracing that.
Commissioner Courtney.
Thank you, Commissioner Rossman. And I just want to add to the gratitude. Thank you for answering all of our questions, all of the community's questions, and for staying engaged on the topic of ICE activities and immigration enforcement. On another topic that you mentioned, you said you were I think warning or citing residents regarding the removal of snow from sidewalks. I had a resident come up to me last night asking if we were doing the same for commercial and multifamily properties, and who they should contact when if they come across one of those properties that hasn't removed the snow from out front.
They just need to call 911 and explain to them the location, whether it's commercial or residential, and we will respond immediately and start the investigation on it.
Great. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. It's public safety. It's very, very difficult situation for our pedestrians to walk with some of these sidewalks with the ice on it.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah. I have a question for Superintendent.
Commissioner Gregory.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to take a step back. I just have a question. When you say someone comes to your door, I think I'm just over here overthinking, and they don't identify themselves. I think a lot of people want to know, what do you do? You're not going to come in my house if you don't identify yourself. And that's what I'm hearing from people in the community. Like, if someone doesn't identify themselves, you can be dressed up like anything. You know, I'm asking you, because I know you're like, what do you do? Like,
so this is our concern on a daily basis, as I've communicated before.
Yeah, I didn't mean to take a step back. But
No, you're not.
But
it's an excellent question, because in law enforcement, the way we operate is if somebody's coming into our town, our jurisdiction, and they have to conduct an investigation, they're supposed to stop here and check in with us, advise us what's going on so we can vet everything. Those situations scare us when they don't do it, because the resident's going to call. If somebody's at my door and they're trying to come in the house and I don't know who they are and they appear to be a police officer, or it's just somebody with a firearm, I want everybody to call 911. We're going to come and respond to that. But the response that we may be making at this point is a home invasion that's occurring at this point, which is the highest priority call for us. So that's why we're trying to deal with our federal partners on this, so we don't have what's called a blue-on-blue shooting in those situations. We want to know when the law enforcement's in our town and when they're operating. We do it when we go to other towns, even with our partners in the city of Philadelphia, which we were most recently down there with the Lemon theft investigation. So that's what we keep trying to establish with our federal partners. And I sit on the executive board for the Police Chiefs Association of Montgomery County. We're very concerned about this as well, and we've reached out. We're trying to contact and have a meeting with these federal partners so we can have some type of understanding. So we continue to endeavor to do that.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? I'm going to repeat a little bit of what Superintendent Block said, but our police department will be partnering with Lower Merion Community Watch to provide Community Watch patrol. And there'll be training for residents who are interested in being a part of the Community Watch program. The training will take place on Thursday, March 12th at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom. The program is open to township residents who are at least 18 years old. Registration is required for the training. Please visit lmcommunitywatch.org for more information and to register. I encourage everyone to get involved with the Lower Merion Community Watch. It's a great way to make a positive impact on your neighborhood and get to know your neighbors.
The business of the Police Committee is now concluded. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Dr. Rossman. We are now turning to the Finance Committee. I recognize its chair, Commissioner Dawes.
Thank you, President Sinai. Tonight, there are 6 items on the Finance Committee agenda. We'll start with item number 1, which is for the committee to have a presentation on 2026 Equipment Fund Asset Replacement Purchases, translation, primarily vehicles and other attachments to vehicles that are proposed by the staff for purchase in this year out of the Equipment Fund. This is not an item that's on the agenda for a vote. This is an item for presentation and, of course, questions and discussion. I've asked earlier today our CFO if he could take a longer than make it a slightly longer presentation about the Equipment Fund so that our 5 new commissioners are conversant and better understand what that is, because it is fairly unique. Many townships do not have an equipment fund. We put money aside in advance to fund purchases of equipment. So I'll call on now our CFO, Adam Chomsky, to tell us more.
Thank you, Commissioner Zelov, and good evening, Board of Commissioners. As Commissioner Zelov alluded to, the Township has an equipment fund. That is an internal service fund that accounts for all of our asset replacements for vehicles and major equipment, the operating and maintenance costs of that equipment, which includes our fleet department staff or fleet division within the Public Works Department. So that is a wholly contained fund that tracks those costs, and those costs are then assessed internally to the operating funds based on the departments that use those vehicles. So the general fund, whether it's the police department, building and planning, have rental charges in effect charged to them in the annual budget. It hits the general fund, the sanitary sewer fund, and the solid waste fund. And it is in non-accounting terms, a real asset to the township because, as Commissioner Zelov noted, it is a means by which the township puts aside assets to purchase vehicles outright rather than having to come to the board and ask to lease and borrow for our assets and incur those interest costs. So this year, our asset replacement schedule calls for the replacement of 43 vehicles and major pieces of equipment, totaling between $4.3 and $4.4 million. Most, if not all, of these purchases will be made through the CoStar's cooperative purchasing arrangement within Pennsylvania that uses statewide contracts to negotiate and get the best price on those vehicles. A little bit more on the equipment fund, and of course we have our Director of Public Works who can speak to any of the operational needs of these vehicles that are listed in your packet. But the equipment fund ended last year, 2025, with about $3.6 million of cash net of accrued payables. And we, on top of that, had $2.3 million of outstanding orders. Leaving about a $1.3 million operating balance in the fund. As that $2.3 million of outstanding orders include 2 units ordered in 2023 and 12 units ordered in 2024. So we still live in a world of delayed supply chain as it relates to some of our more specialized vehicles. In speaking with our staff, it has improved compared to where it was 2 years ago. This year, about 80% of our orders have been fulfilled from 2025. So it is getting better, but we do see year-plus delays in getting some specialized equipment still. And I think that is all the information I have to discuss at the moment. We'll open up to questions and comments, and I'll probably have to turn it over to our Director of Public Works for most of those answers.
Well, let's do that right now, Adam. I'd like our Public Works Director, Paul McElhenney, to come up and tell us some or all of the specifics that are on the list.
All the specifics?
Okay, we'll go back to some.
Okay, let me start.
in 19, no. So, as Adam has indicated, there is a wide variety of items that are to be replaced this year. They start with very simple items as the speed trailers for traffic enforcement throughout the township and message boards, to replacement of one of our K-9 units. Several of the police SUV units are being replaced this year, as we do every year, through our normal scheduled replacements. Again, we are replacing 5 of our refuse trucks and 1 of our small packers. We broke those up several years ago to space them out, because at one point, all 15 of the large trucks were all ordered in the same year and all started having catastrophic issues in the same year. So we broke them up. We also did a lot of this with our former CFO to ease the equipment fund spending, to balance it to make it a little easier to project borrowing and rates and so forth. And we do our best to try to keep it on that even keel. And we work hand in hand now with Adam to do so. But we have simple things also, like a new flail mower, which is an attachment to some of the parks equipment. But as noted, we have 44 or 46 pieces of equipment for this year. For the benefit of the newer commissioners, understanding that we put a life cycle in for each piece of equipment, each vehicle. Each year, we meet with every department. We review what is scheduled to be replaced. We discuss that department's needs. We discuss every piece of equipment that may be being replaced. We look at its service history. We discuss whether the life cycle of that piece of equipment or vehicle can be extended. Some things we determine, let's look at it in 2 years or 3 years, or we're going to put it on a yearly, we'll review it next year and we'll see where we're at. So every piece of equipment does get reviewed. It's not just replaced because its time is due. We have a piece of equipment on here that's well over 20 years old. Last year we had one that was from 1996. So we do our best to try to maximize the use of the equipment so that we get the best value for our buck. But we do that every year with every department. Departments will have changes in their needs or changes in how to address different tasks. They will bring that to myself, my fleet manager. We sit down, we have discussions, we review the products that are being asked for. We have further discussions with the department managers, and then we bring forward our in our budget, we put in what we would like to see and bring forward in the beginning of the year what we plan to purchase. So, but it's a very intensive process. It starts in September. At the same time, we're doing budgets and everything else. But we also do this so that we can do the insurance rates that go into the budgets for the cost and also the expense to be charged to each department. So, but we buy everything from the mowers for parks and recs to the police cars and everything in between. So that's kind of a broad summary of what we have before us this year.
Would you like to tell us about what you devoted several paragraphs to, which is the proposed purchase of 6 hybrid vehicles?
Yes. So this year you'll see that there are no EV vehicles listed. As I said, we go through an extensive review of what is available, what the manufacturers are or are not making, to see if there are vehicles available to meet our needs. This year, with the needs that we had and some discontinuation of certain vehicles by certain manufacturers, we were left with that plus some other obstacles like power supply for charging said vehicles and all, which we are working with the township engineer to make analysis of all the buildings to see how we can address the power needs. But so with the review, since we weren't able to bring forward any recommendations for EVs, we moved forward with 6 hybrids this year, recommending 6 hybrids. There is one on there, the Parks van, That may be a plug-in hybrid. We will not know until we go to order it to see if the manufacturer, what they are manufacturing at that point. We're being told they may no longer have the plug-in, and it may be the traditional combination hybrid that doesn't get plugged in. So that, once we have approval, we'll start looking and speaking to that manufacturer to see what they plan to produce or not to produce. So again, we weren't able to do EVs this year because of several different difficulties, so we've brought hybrids forward where we could. And as I also noted, we are working with the Township's engineering team to review all of our buildings and our power needs, especially down at Kegel, which is a little more complicated because, as I mentioned last year, that we are looking at the overall plan, the master plan for Kegel and the upgrade, so it's going to be a balance of combining the two.
Thank you very much, Paul. Do any members of the public in the room tonight have any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, any on Zoom, Jody?
No one is on Zoom now.
No one is on Zoom. Maybe I won't ask the question again. Okay, so it's now time for committee member questions and comments. Paul, thank you for going through the list. Thank you to, I guess, the police department for adding or replacing or adding 2 new speed traffic trailers and one with a message board. If the number were higher, that would be okay. We need speed trailers, we need pole-mounted speed indicators, we need all the tools in the toolbox to enforce our speed limits.
And we work diligently with them to be able to work and provide the financing to be able to do so. We had asked if an additional trailer with the message board would be necessary this year. We'll be looking at one next year, changing out one of the old style with just the speed reading to also include a message board. So we'll be upgrading next year when the next one comes due.
Why not do that?
Because it's not due at this time, and we're not having difficulties with that trailer. So again, we use our...
Got it, okay. Tell us about the Parks and Rec van, because I've been around long enough to remember when we last purchased it. And so,
well, the van
couldn't have been that long ago, and it's $235,000.
The Parks minivan is the one that's used by the Parks Department for the Palm Center and the Community Center. So that vehicle spent a lot of time during COVID being parked. Any vehicle that's parked on a surface, the rust gathers on the bottom of it from not being used. When you drive your vehicle, just driving in the wind dries out the vehicle and so forth. That vehicle's also had a lot of issues with the heating and cooling system on it. So between a frame that is less than desirable and other issues like not being able to provide air conditioning during the warmer months, we've decided that it is at the end of its life cycle. We are going to replace that. We did look at a possible EV solution for that piece of equipment. It was, all the batteries would have been mounted on the roof, and the premium for that vehicle was about another $125,000 to go to EV. So we felt that we wouldn't be justified in bringing forward that recommendation, that we wouldn't be comfortable doing at such an extreme number.
Are there things that Fleet will do differently with a new Parks
as you know,
van?
You have a brand-new center being completed over on Ardmore Avenue, and I would, look forward to and know with speaking with Director Heller that that vehicle will be utilized once again. COVID kind of was a downfall for the existing vehicle, so with the use, that'll definitely help a lot.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your explanation on the proposing to purchase 6 hybrid vehicles. The premium of 27%, first of all, thank you for identifying that. That's a very important number for us to always be aware of. It seems high to me, but then there have been some questions asked earlier, and perhaps this evening as to whether it includes the life cycle cost of an EV, which would presumably reduce the premium, which makes it, is likely to make it bring it to the range of being more reasonable. And then I would say thank you to you and Pietro, who you often bring here, but you haven't tonight, for what is a lot of work to put this list, this $4.2, $4.3 million list together, because we really don't revisit it. We see it in the weekly ops when the purchases are executed. But that's how we maintain our fleet. And I do know that you work very hard, you and your fleet group work hard to extend the life of vehicles whenever possible. One comment with regard to the work you're doing on analyzing our capacity for electric vehicles going forward. The market's retrenching, so it seems like, unlike a year ago, there may be less. It may be less likely, or there may be fewer vehicles that will meet our needs in the near future. So we should all consider that as this analysis comes forward at some point. And so I do note in the memo, it was very clear that at this time, available EV models offered by manufacturers are unable to fully meet the operational needs here in Lower Merion. So I think that's an important point to emphasize as this discussion ensues. With that, are there any committee members who have any questions or comments?
Commissioner Zoloff, may I just offer two things, just so you're aware? You know, we analyze throughout the whole year. It's not just September, as I mentioned earlier. That's when we sit down, but we have constant conversations with all the departments throughout the year as to what their operations are, how they're changing, what they may or may not need. The other, so that you're aware, is that some of the vehicles that we have purchased, the manufacturers have already discontinued. So we will be keeping track of availability of parts and things like that as we move forward to make sure that we're able to provide the level of service that is demanded of those vehicles from township staff.
Can you, which vehicles have we purchased that have been or are about to be discontinued?
Ford Lightnings. The Ford plants are closing the Lightning production or suspending the Lightning production at this time. So we're monitoring what occurs with those vehicles because we have several in the fleet, that, perform well in their tasks that they've been assigned to. So, but we're monitoring what Ford and other manufacturers are doing.
Right. Thank you for pointing that out, because I know that you do. This is something that goes on 12 months a year with fleet in analyzing what's available in the marketplace. Committee members with questions or Commissioner Gilda Kramer online.
Thank you. Paul, I have a question for you. A couple of years ago, the township tested a hybrid police vehicle. Are there any plans to test hybrid or electric police vehicles in the near future again?
If they're available, we will test them as available. We have not been able to, from the manufacturer, get a Chevy Blazer. Narberth has one, but we're not able to get one. There's several vehicles that have not been readily available, and one of the concerns is when we ask when they will be available for purchase or production, we don't get concrete dates. So that makes it a little harder for us to make our decisions on whether to purchase said vehicle or not. But we are constantly trying all types of vehicles. We've been, this week alone, we received an email about trying out some hydrogen refuse trucks. So we'll be arranging a time to be able to do so. So when things are brought forward, we reevaluate and we check. And as I say we, more so my fleet manager, Pete Malteri, Pietro, does a very thorough job of constantly speaking to the manufacturers, asking them what their technology is, when we can see things, when we can do things, so that we can be ahead of the curve as much as possible.
Well, how is it that Narberth was able to get a Chevy Blazer, but we can't?
Commissioner, they were able to buy one. We have not been able to do so. We reached through the co-stars and so forth. And I know that in speaking to some individuals at Narberth, they're looking to change how that vehicle is used because of the battery life. And that they're gathering their data and maybe changing their usage of how that
Are you going to try another hybrid police vehicle? I know that there was one that may not have been the best. It might have been a lemon. Are you going to try one again now that it's been 2 or 3 years?
In speaking to several people at New York DOT, they are still experiencing the problems that we experienced with their new purchases. As noted, Pietro speaks to many individuals, but Pietro was with New York DOT prior to being here, was a district commander up there, had a large territory, and speaks to many individuals up there, and they're still reporting the same issues that we found with our purchase the other year. Doesn't mean we won't try it again, but we're waiting to hear some more positive, so that we can ensure that we're able to give the level of service that the police demand. That when a call comes in, that as the suppliers of these vehicles, that we're able to send someone to Mrs. Smith's house, that there's not a problem. So we want to make sure that we have reliability.
I just would like to make a comment, which is that, I am disappointed that this is now the 2nd year in a row, I believe, that we have not made any further moves towards electrification of our fleet. And I would really urge staff to expedite evaluations of ways to increase our charging capacity, which I understand is the primary reason we can't expand our electric capacity. And that should include evaluation of creative approaches like installing batteries from which the vehicles can be charged, and also solar options, because there are many charging stations that are powered largely by solar. So I would hope that that staff would look at all of those potential ways of expanding our charging capacity in the near future.
Commissioner, with all due respect, we have looked at the solar units, and they take up a lot of real estate when you bring one in. To put 2 vehicles takes up the equivalent of 4 spaces. We've looked at, could we put in battery banks, and it would require garages to be able to do so, which, if you're familiar with the properties, we don't have garage space to store the battery units in, but we don't rule it out. We continue to look at all the changing technologies and how everything is evolving, and bring forward recommendations based on what is possible at this time.
Okay, commissioners with questions or comments on this item. Commissioner Bernheim.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zeloff, and Paul, thank you for doing this, and it's clear to see there's a lot of hard work behind it. I took a look at this list, a lot of items. I have no idea what they are, parks, ball field, groomer, and
they're code names for other things we're buying.
Indeed, but I looked it up. It's like a Zamboni for ball fields, but, I couldn't find a parks zero turn, but nevertheless, not to educate me, is years that you
sit on it and ride around.
So, but here's my question for you. What do we do with the used equipment? We put it on eBay, we sell it to other townships, or is it useless?
Well, we have a black market for them. Now, all kidding aside, so...
Trick Radner.
Exactly. So because we take such meticulous care of our equipment, what we do is we try to bring it out of its life cycle while there's still resale value in a piece of equipment. so that we're able to put them in a municipal auction. We usually have an average of what we get for certain pieces of equipment. A police car is usually $5,000 to $10,000, and so that money goes back into Adam's equipment fund, so that he can't say that I spent everything. But no, we do it so that way it goes into the equipment fund. When we estimate our cost and our rents and so forth, we evaluate what we think the resale value of the piece that we're going to be getting rid of will offset on the rent. We do that with every piece of equipment that the township owns.
All right, thank you very much. I assumed it wasn't, accumulating in your backyard, but if you
No,
could
I don't
find-
have room.
Right, I know. But if you could at some point provide us with those statistics, that'd be interesting to know, and thank you very much.
Adam
Okay,
can
appreciate it.
give you the numbers from our recent sales. We usually do reasonably well, but we also, understanding that, we will take a bunch of vehicles out of service and we will stockpile. For a couple of years, we weren't selling things because we were stealing parts because they weren't available. But we usually wait till we have a spring sale or they're having a fall sale. We've retired 25, 30 pieces of equipment so that it's, because there's a lot of work involved with taking the pieces of equipment to auction because you have to provide titles, you have to transport the equipment. There's an entire, we spend several weeks getting everything prepped into the auctions.
All right, thank you very much, and I'll look forward to my Parks Zero turn. Thank you, Commissioners.
Other committee members with questions or comments?
Paul, this is a quick
Commissioner Gregory. You'll get used to it.
No, you can't have a new mower.
Just the one unit that I'm looking at, because I know we're going to cut down on leaf cleanup in the parks. I believe it's the Toro, the mower mulcher. Were we even thinking about getting two? Because isn't that thing going to take a beating with, this is me, because I used to drive it. So,
Exactly. So that piece of equipment with several others, we've been working with Director Heller and with Dave DeAngelis. And what we may be doing is there may be a few pieces of equipment in parks that we may change our model. And we may go to a lease purchase, like a lease, not a lease purchase, but a lease of the piece of equipment because of what we see the life expectancy to be. But we have to make sure that if we entered into a lease that the financials wouldn't put us in a negative position, that, what would it do financially to us? Whether it would be, instead of doing the lease, we'd go to a shorter life cycle to try to get resale out of the piece of equipment. But as you know, we don't transport, we drive most of the pieces of equipment, and it puts a lot of wear on this equipment.
Thanks, Paul.
Other committee members? Oh, okay. Yes, Commissioner Timberlake.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Paul, just one question for you. The traffic speed trailers, do those collect data and on volume and speed, or do they just?
No, some have different capacities depending on what model it is. Some of them, I won't divulge what they collect because there may be reasons why the police department doesn't want to identify so that people act naturally around certain things.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Other committee members with questions or comments? Seeing none. Paul, thank you very much. Adam, you can't leave.
Nor can I.
We're going to go on to item number 2. This is an item for us to consider via vote, consider awarding a contract for roadway maintenance materials. Tell us more. Actually, before you tell us more, I'm going to move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to award a contract for the annual supply of roadway maintenance materials to Glasgow, Inc., in accordance with bids received on Thursday, January 15th, 2026, with the recommendation of the Chief Financial Officer with the approval of the Director of Public Works. Do I have a second? I do, from Commissioner Bernheim. I purposely did not move the amount, and why is that, Adam?
This is a requirements contract where we make no obligation to purchase the full quantity that we estimate. We're really locking in the unit prices to purchase for the year. This is for various materials that the Highway Division will use for in-house paving projects throughout the year. It's not uncommon for us to get no bids on some of the items that we quote lower estimated quantities on. So, have no fear in seeing no bids on some of these items. Glasgow Incorporated has been the low bidder on this contract for several years in a row. It was the lowest bidder on all the competed items and the only bidder on several items. So that total of $718,000 that you see in the packet literally is just the enumeration if we bought all the estimated quantities, which typically doesn't happen depending on the volume of work that the Highway Division works on in a given year.
Great, thank you. I believe there is a Glasgow plant in White Marsh Township.
That's
Is
correct.
that the source of these materials? You could just nod, yes.
No, they have several plants, not all titled as Glasgow. It depends on what product we're looking for, that we may have to go to different plants to be able to pick up the product. So it just depends on which plant's producing what at that time and what they have in stockpiles.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any members of the public with us this evening that have any questions or comments? Jody, any changes? Okay. Do any members of the committee have any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none. The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Madam Secretary, that item passes unanimously. Okay, on to item 3, and this is for related, which is for us to consider a contract for highway equipment rental, but this has a different staff recommendation. Adam, tell us more. Well, actually, no, before we do that, I will move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to reject the bid for annual highway equipment rental submitted by DePaul and Company on January 15, 2026, with the recommendation of the Chief Financial Officer, with the approval of the Director of Public Works, in the total bid amount of $321,250. Do I have a second? I do, from Commissioner Rossman. Okay, Adam, tell us why staff is recommending rejection.
This is a contract that we bring to the board every 2 or 3 years. It involves renting not only equipment, but the operators for excavation work in partnership with our highway staff to any type of excavation work they may need, which might be attending to sewer main breaks, stormwater inlet repairs, and trenching, anything where we're digging into the ground. There's certain liability in, breaking something if you dig into the ground, and that's why we typically put this out as a contract to limit our liability and have some experts digging for us, so to speak. We put this out early and only fielded one bid, and it was double, and in certain cases more than double our prior contract. We want to reject and reject quickly, hence why we have a special Board of Commissioners tonight. If you authorize this rejection and go out quickly and see if we can't solicit more bids. And certainly we'll be working with our online bidding platform to make sure we're hitting all possible potential parties in case we missed any during the holiday season. So obviously risking going back out, but we're hopeful that we'll at least solicit some competing bids. And when we bring this back in April, that is the same timeline that we brought it back in 2023, the last time we awarded a similar contract. So we feel operationally we can, still manage what we need to do this year.
Thank you, Adam. Do any members of the public with us this evening have any questions or comments? Seeing none, Jody, any change? Okay, the time for committee questions or comments on this item. President Sinai.
Thanks, Commissioner Zoll. So Adam, I support rebidding this, but I'm trying to project what we might see next time. So why is it that you think we only got one high bid this one time, and why do you think that it might be different when we rebid it?
And I don't know why our current contractor did not bid on it, we're just hopeful that we can feel something better. There's always risk in that, but with such a high increase, we decided it was the best course of action just to cast another net.
So on the view that it can't possibly be worse. Is that the right? Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Commissioner Zell.
Other committee members with questions or comments? Seeing none, the motion has been made and seconded to reject this bid. All those in favor, raise your hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, that passes unanimously. Item 4 on tonight's agenda is for a contract extension, hosting and support services for enterprise content management systems. I will move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to award a contract extension for hosting and support services for enterprise content management, ECM, system in accordance with the recommendation of the Chief Financial Officer with the approval of the Director of Information Services for a 5-year term totaling $931,672.68. Do I have a second? I do, from Commissioner Rossman. Adam, can you tell us more? And I would like to let the committee know that our Director of IT, Doniel Zhao, is also with us this evening.
Yes, and apologize, I'm going to throw some terms and some names here, and I'll try and tee it up for you. We use a system called OnBase, and it is sold by Highland, or developed by Highland Technologies. We purchase it through a reseller called Paperless Solutions. Late in 2025, we received notice from Paperless Solutions, the increase to our support and maintenance fees. And we're surprised when it came back at 10% for 2026. They were advised by Highland, whom they resell the product for, that purchasers of the software outside of a multi-year contract will be getting 10% increases for the foreseeable future annually unless they have a multi-year contract. For most of their commercial contracts, they're providing only 8% across a 3-year term and 6% across a 5-year term. We reached out and were successful in negotiating a 3% annual increase over a 5-year term for the software. So what does the software do for the township? It is a document management system and a lot more. So not only do we retain a boatload of documents in it from all employee records, business tax correspondence, and some uses in building and planning. We intend to do more and digitize more records. It also is nimble and flexible in creating workflows, and it's been used particularly to kind of fill gaps where our other IT systems, software systems, don't do a good job of some sort of workflow that we're looking to do. It's used for police civil service applications. It is used for alarm billing, payment renewals, and contractor license renewals. So it's more than just a document management system. And we know that we're going to be using this for several years, and it works well for us. So we wanted to limit the growth of it to the extent possible. And that's why we bring this proposed recommendation forward to you.
Thank you, Adam. Doniel, is there anything you would like to add? You don't have to. Okay. Are there any members of the public with us this evening that have any questions or comments? Seeing none, Jody? Okay. I would like to say great work negotiating this, Adam and others on the staff who may have participated, getting this down to a 3% increase from what was proposed at a 10% increase. So do any other committee members have any questions or comments on this item?
I do have a quick.
Yes, Commissioner Gregory.
I'm doing it again. You said we're locking that in for 5 years. We don't think in the next 5 years something else is better is not going to come out. Like, you know, where everything's going on, you always get something better. And we're locking ourselves into something for 5 years. I understand keeping that price, but the next three, I'm just using 3 years as a thing. How about something that comes out so much better? Now we're locked out and we're locked in this contract for 5 years.
So that's a great question and something we discussed internally. One of the things that we are working on currently is a request for proposal to look at new finance systems. And I put finance in a broad, it's really not just finance. It's a lot of the systems that we use internally for asset management and our book of record. So we will be going to the market for financial software and some other softwares this year. Part of that, we are going to ask vendors to propose document management solutions inherent to those softwares. For instance, you know, we have a very paper-intensive process for reviewing and approving invoice batches right now because we don't utilize workflow in our current finance system. That will be a requirement for our next system to digitize our invoice records and do a workflow that's digitized and approvals are all recorded digitally in our finance system. So we will be looking in the next, you know, the timeline for that is really we won't be able to add that document management system inherent to that finance system for another 3 years with the time it takes to select software, negotiate a contract, and then implement it. So if we decide that this product, you know, is obsolete, we're not really going to be in a position to replace it until year 4 and 5. So year 4 and 5, we'll be doing that analysis to say, do we strip this down to document management and then move the documents elsewhere? Just as likely, we might say, you know, this is the best document management system and it's still going to fill those gaps of software limitations that we have in new systems. Every system has a limitation that you run into and don't like. So we felt that we're reducing the growth of the cost for a contract and a service that we know we're going to use for the majority of that term. And at year 4 and 5, we'll be in a good position to say, you know, let's move or let's continue to invest in this product.
Other committee members with questions or comments? Seeing none, the motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Madam Secretary, that item passes unanimously. On to item 5, which is an item that we consider every year at this time. Has to do with the collection of real estate taxes, or in this case, the failure for some to pay their real estate taxes. So I'm going to move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners adoption of a resolution exonerating the Township tax collector from collection of 2025 real estate taxes. Do I have a second? I do, from Commissioner Rossman. Are there, well, we'll first go to Adam for an explanation. So we're exonerating the tax collector, but not the homeowners or the property owners.
Correct. This is a resolution that bookends the collection obligations of the tax collector for the 2025 real estate taxes. In January of each year, the tax collector does a return of taxes to the county tax claim bureau. So anything uncollected plus penalty is turned over to the county tax claim bureau to initiate those collection activities. And that allows the tax collector to then, you know, just move on with the current year taxes into 2026 and perpetually thereafter. The amount, including the 10% penalty, was just under $400,000 of taxes returned or tax obligations turned over to county tax claim. So This, looking back at our tax collection for the year, is over 97%, almost 97.5%, which, considering that the vast majority of payers utilize the 2% discount, that is an extraordinary tax collection rate that any municipality in Pennsylvania would love to have. And so, as you said, it exonerates our tax collector from collecting that year's taxes. It does not exonerate those property owners from paying those taxes. It just moves over to being collected by the Tax Claim Bureau.
Thank you, Adam. Do any members of the public with us this evening have any questions or comments? Jody? Seeing none on both counts. Adam, if this amount is more or less 1% of total real estate taxes, yet you said our collection rate is 97.5, shouldn't our collection rate be 99 more or less, 99%?
I think the disconnect somewhere in there is the number I gave you is inclusive of penalty and discounts. So if everybody paid and everybody paid at discount, we'd have a collection rate of 98%. So, you know, most people pay in discount.
You're right.
Most people pay, you know, it depends on the numerator and denominator, but.
Yeah. At another time, can you take a look at that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Committee members with questions or comments on this item? Seeing none. The motion on the resolution has been made and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Madam Secretary, note that it is unanimous with one abstention from Commissioner Gilda Kramer. All right, on to the final item of tonight's Finance Committee agenda is for us to consider approving swimming pool fees for the summer of 2026 and 2027. In order to keep it moving, I will move that the Finance Committee recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of a 4.25% increase for resident membership fees and a 6.5% increase for non-resident membership fees for the Belmont Hills Pool, and no increase to resident and non-resident membership fees for the Ardmore Avenue Pool for both 2026 and then again in 2027. Do I have a second? I do, from Commissioner Rossman. And I ask our newly promoted Assistant Director of Recreation.
Correct.
Gina Tofani.
Tofoni.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
To
Commissioner.
tell us more, and as she is ably supported by Director of Parks and Recreation, Donna Heller. Thank you for being here in support tonight. Gina.
Thank you. So to try and snap the Groundhog Day feeling of the pool fees, I'm up here instead of Donna, so maybe with a new change of face, we can move away from the Groundhog Day feeling and maybe towards a warmer, summery holiday. Staff are making this pool fee recommendation based on the policy that was set forth by the board. The policy was set in 2006 and extended in 2015 to stretch through the year of 2037. The goal of the policy was to recover 100% of operating costs and debt services at Belmont Hills and to recover 100% of debt service at Ardmore Pool. Over the years, the pool fees have not kept pace with the increases necessary to adhere to the board's policy. This ultimately results in higher projected annual fee increases to meet the board policy. Staff recommendation is to increase the resident rate for the Belmont Hills Pool by the 4.5% and the non-resident rates by 6.5%. And at this time, the Ardmore Pool would not require an increase to meet the Board of Commission policy to recover 100% of debt service. Additionally, with the current construction schedule at the Ardmore Pool, we do not anticipate being ready for the Memorial Day holiday opening. We are currently projecting a late June, early July opening, and of course, that is a moving target. The weather is not helping the progress. We also have to keep in mind that the complex will still be adjacent to an active construction site. So with all that said, I have Adam, too, as an anchor to help me this evening, if you have anything you'd like to add. And then I'll gladly answer any questions.
Gina, that was the best opening line of the evening. And, but before we get to questions from us, thank you for the explanation. Do any members of the public with us this evening have any questions or comments? Jody? Seeing none in both arenas, is now time for committee questions or comments. It is, in my view, time for us to take a look at the policy, but not tonight, not next week, but perhaps after this season. The Ardmore Avenue pool fees have been remarkably low. They are 25% of the Belmont Hills fees. It's smaller, there's no parking, and in this year, you pointed out that late June, early July becomes rapidly mid-July and late July, and then it's too late. Or then it's very late, I should say. So it seems to me that we should support the recommendation, but that we should consider perhaps a Finance Committee, along with Parks Committee, review of the policies that would come back for consideration. So, committee members with questions or comments, Commissioner Bernheim.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zella. There are few, if anything, for which I ever take personal credit, but it is the labeling this is Groundhog Day is mine. And that is because historically, this all went back to year after year, the same argument, which, being consistent, I'm going to present, but ever so briefly. When the Belmont Hills pool was being renovated, the only way it was able to pass was because some were against doing it at all, and it was a compromise that the fees collected would cover the costs. I didn't like the idea then, and I don't like it now. Because, as the argument was made, some people use the libraries, but they're not everyone. They're not required to have them self-sufficient. Some use the parks. They're not and pay dues, but they're not required to have that self-sufficient. For the township to have the amenity of the pools for those who can't have them in their backyards or live in other facilities where it's not possible, that is a great thing that I believe that we ought to support wholeheartedly. Each year when we raise the fees, we reach close to that tipping point where it becomes counterproductive, because you'll get people to say, it's too much, I can't afford it, and then you're going to have a decline in revenue. Are we there now? I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is we're at least close enough where Commissioner Zeloff says we ought to take a look at this policy in the future. I would put the brakes on immediately and then take a look to see what we wish to do, and not have any of those increases, especially when we hear the construction that's going to take place and the compromise that is out there. So while we want to generate revenue, I think we also need to look outside the pool. Let's try something different. And this is a recommendation I've made in another arena, not this township, which was successful, and that is food. Find an ability to raise funds in that fashion, be it a upscale, food truck or something else to lease out. There are other avenues to raise revenue for the pools as opposed to requiring those that join it to have to pay more than we've already put out there. So while I appreciate the diligence behind this and the economics of it, I will not support this. In fact, what I'd like to do is move that we maintain the fees for 2006 for both pools as they are for 2005. 25. Got it. All right. So I don't think, maybe you'll see that as a friendly amendment and
That
endorse
is not the case.
Okay. Well, I would have wagered that. So, but nevertheless, I make that motion and would ask if there would be a second to that.
Motion's been seconded by Commissioner Whalen.
Okay. Think you would ask?
I would ask for questions or comments on the motion to amend. Commissioner Whalen.
Thank you very much. I will just say that for 6 years on the board, I have disagreed with our longstanding policy. I understand that was historically the policy that was erected about making this, and I think we've passed that time period, and I want to truly I understand how much work goes into this, so it's no disrespect to anyone in Parks and Rec who did all this work, but I wholeheartedly agree that we should put the brakes on right here and reconsider what policy this board does want to have going forward, because I think it's an excellent analogy that this is a wonderful amenity that our township is able to provide, and so are the libraries, which 5 of you haven't heard me on this. Actually, Commissioner Zoloff is a big proponent with me. We are maybe the loudest voices favoring the libraries. But again, not everybody uses them. Some people use them a lot, not everybody, just like the pools. And I think that this falls into that same category, and I think it's a wonderful analogy. So I will wholeheartedly support this.
President Sinai.
Thank you, Mr. Zoloff. Like, I think it's fine. I mean, like, I too have been one of the people who said amenities should, not be charged as a fee for service where you're just costing it out, right? So I agree with that premise. Pools are different than our parks in that the pools are congestible and our parks are not, right? Like if the pools were completely free, there'd be so many people using them that, it would be chaos, right? And so, partly you charge people just so the people who, who really want to use it are people who become members. I have trouble though parsing out, the difference between, $369, which is, the 2026 fee, and $353, this is for Belmont Hills, it's the only one that's proposed to go up, which was the 2025 fee. So that, like, that $16 difference, I understand, but I don't know how many memberships there are to figure out how much total it would be. Do you have a sense of, what the total number we're talking about here? Is it 1,000? How many memberships do we sell at Belmont Hills a year, ballpark?
Ballpark about 2,500. Last year we had over 5,000 members.
So 16 times 2,500, so it's like $40,000? Is that right? Okay. Okay, I'm fine. I'm good with this. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Zoloff.
Other committee members with questions or comments? Vice President Woodring.
Thank you, Commissioner Zoloff. As a resident of Belmont Hills, I often hear from other residents that the pool fees actually prevent them from joining a pool that is within walking distance of their houses. So I will support Commissioner Bernheim's amendment to keep the fees stagnant until the policy is revised. But in addition to that, I do want to just comment and say thank you both, Donna and Gina, for all the work that you do, because this is a huge asset to not only our community, but to my family personally. We are members, and this is frequently our weekend go-to in the summer. And so after all of the concerns leading up to this past summer, seeing that a lot of those concerns never came to fruition, a lot of people still enjoyed themselves, and I can attest that my family had a wonderful summer. We made lots of memories, and so thank you again for all the work that you do.
As long as the water's not stagnant. Are there any other committee members with questions or comments? Yes, so that would be me. On top of page 2 of the memo shows that every other pool is more expensive in other communities, including the public pool in Upper Merion. The memo says that the rate of usage of the discounted opportunity that's offered is 1%. It may even say less, it does say less than 1%. When these pools were built, they had fees. When the libraries were built, they didn't have fees and never have. The revenue is $750,000. There is not a comparison to our parks, which we have 49 of them with hundreds of acres. If we had pool fees that were too low, we'd have either pools that were too crowded or waiting lists. So I just don't, I never have understood the comparison. I think that the staff recommendation makes sense. I don't support the amendment. The motion to amend has been made and seconded. So the motion to amend is that, as a reminder, that made by Commissioner Bernheim to not, I believe, not raise fees
That's correct.
at Belmont Hills.
And it does not mean 6 more weeks of winter.
And I would note that the,
Is that for 26 and 27 or just 26?
It was just the 1 year 26.
the initial motion, of course, does not increase pool fees at Ardmore Avenue Pool, only Belmont Hills. So to clarify that, everybody understand the motion? Motion to amend has been made and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion to amend carries, Madam Secretary. And no, I do not want it on consent. And so, Donna or Gina, anything else? Thank you for your work tonight.
I think you vote on the motion, or the amendment, the actual, we just amended it. You have to vote on the actual motion. Amendment to the motion.
Got it, right, thank you. Okay, the motion that was made has been amended. So all those in favor of the motion as amended, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
So we didn't address 2027 then, because that was in the original motion.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
So where does that leave us?
Well, I believe it leaves the motion to amend took the place of what was proposed in the initial motion,
Okay.
and it only covers 2026.
Okay.
So I believe that's
Okay.
sufficient.
Yep.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the motion passes, the motion passes.
Right.
Okay, that concludes the 6 items on tonight's Finance Committee President sign-off.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zoll. We now move to the Public Works Committee, and I recognize the Chair, Commissioner Epstein.
Thank you, President Steiner. Okay, we have one agenda item, and it requires no action. No action. We're just going to hear the paving program for 2026. I know we're thinking about summer all night long. Thanks, Paul. Take it away.
You're not the only one thinking about summer, trust me. Anyway, so what you have before you is a lot of the benefit of the new commissioners is our proposed paving list for the 2026 season. What we do is bring forward this list. It's for informational purposes only. This is what we will have out for bid and what we propose to repave during this year's season. Usually we try to do about 200,000 square yards. That's usually like what we call a sweet spot. And the reason being is, as you see before you, you see numerous roads. Each road that you see here has numerous steps that it must go through before it can be paved. Every sewer line, whether sanitary or storm, on each of these roads is televised and videoed to look for deficiencies, cracks, anything that may be a problem, so that staff can address it prior to the road being repaved. We also take all manholes and reset them, rebuild them as needed, and reset them for the proper height for when the street is paved. All inlets are looked at and rebuilt as needed. So row locks in the front are redone, the structure itself's redone. So that's a lot of what highway and sewer do. But you also have our shade tree division that goes out and they cut back all the trees and all the vegetation that would be in the way of the trucks and the equipment to be able to pave the roads. So we've tried to get this list out as early as we can because the infrastructure work or the behind the scenes work that staff has to do in preparation is quite extensive. And as I noted, we find that about 200,000 square yards, give or take 20, 30,000, is the sweet spot that allows us to stay usually just ahead of the paving contractors. We're usually far enough ahead that they don't catch us, but we are still scrambling to make sure we stay ahead of them. So there's a variety that are throughout the township here. how is this list devised? How does it come about? Currently, we have a road rating system in place that we use, but a lot of what the paving that we're doing currently is we're following the utilities. If you've driven the roads in Lower Merion, you've probably noticed that there's utility ditches here and there. One here or there, similar. But, so a lot of what we are doing is we're following the utilities so that when they're done their infrastructure work, we've done our infrastructure work, and the road is structurally rebuilt, and their infrastructure is done. We also, when we're looking at that work, we look at the surrounding streets in the area where we are going to be paving, and we look to see if there are roads that have lesser ratings, and if we can incorporate them at that time, so that we don't have to pay for mobilization and so forth, so to get our best scale, our best financial buy. So we do, that's how we kind of, this list for the last probably 5-6 years, if not longer, has been created, has been more at the, I don't want to say the direction of the utilities, but by responding to all the utility work. You know, when I first took this role, they told me 2-3 more years. I don't think I'm going to get to retire before they finish. And I know that I've been told by my assistant director I can't retire till the utilities are done, because he wants to walk in and go, hey, what were you complaining about? So, but that's how we devised the list at this time. But as I noted, we do look at the other roads in the surrounding areas. We do have roads that may not even be near the utility, but their road rating has gotten to a point where it needs to be addressed, and we add it to the list. You know, we hope that it doesn't escalate our costs from the extra mobilization fees and so forth. So, but again, before you is what we're proposing for this year. We will be opening bids later this month. We've been working diligently in the last couple of years to get this list out as early as possible. Reason being, we found it very successful last year. We are able to get to be the first customer for for the bidders, but also when we go to schedule, since they've been awarded a large contract early, we get first date to start. And the goal that we had last year was to finish before Labor Day, and the year before was to finish before Labor Day, and we've been able to do so that the majority of the work occurs when school's out. We get a little bit of work during the end of the school year, but staff works diligently to make sure that we don't have interruptions at the schools. So there's a lot of that coordination that goes on also.
Thank you. That was very thorough. So I'm wondering if anybody has questions. In the public? No? No questions? Committee members, any questions? Commissioner Zella.
Commissioner Epstein, I know you're trying.
Someone has to.
I'm going to once again encourage management to consider in a very constructive and productive way to say to the utilities next time they come in for a road opening permit, please finish all the work that you're doing, or some of the work that you're doing, that are causing our roads to be, in some cases, extraordinarily difficult to drive. Think of Old Gulf Road today. And come back for your road opening permit in the future. Not a denial, just a delay. And my idea comes from a conversation with a commissioner in a nearby township that does this. So I know that you don't think it can be done, but I do.
No, I don't say it can't be done.
Let me finish. Because right after speeding, I think the biggest complaint that I get, and perhaps all of us get, is the condition of our roads. And I always say, it's not us, it's the utilities. And we do want our roads, we do want our utilities well maintained. Much better to have the water main replaced than have a water main break in February. I understand that. At the same time, it's so many roads, so many of them near each other. And some of the temporary paving, filling of the trenches until the Glasgow plant opens again makes for a winter of very difficult driving. And so I would ask management to consider delay of road opening permits to utilities.
May I offer two
I
things?
would
Number one,
expect you to.
we require a minimum of 45 days, if not longer, for trench settlement, so that after we pave, we don't end up with dips and so forth in the road. If a driver encounters an area where a trench has started to settle, if our office is contacted, we contact the utility immediately, and they are to go out and address that trench. If we take the approach that you are suggesting, Commissioner, I would offer that that could just take this process that's already taken 7, 8 years and extend it out to 10, 12, 15 years.
That'll be longer before you retire.
And at some point, I would like to. My family would prefer I work, just so they don't have to see me at home. But all kidding aside, that is one of the cautionaries, is that with the amount of work they are doing in the township, and you have both utilities working, and PICO is a double in that there is some electrical work and there's gas work, that the amount of project and time would just extend out that much further. Staff does work with the utilities on a daily basis to try to minimize interruptions, road closures, conflicts, and so forth. The section of Old Gulf that you're speaking of is a state section, I'm pretty sure, and PennDOT is not as insistent as we are in Lower Merion. We try to leverage the contractor and twist their arm, but some of them go, hey, we know it's not yours, you know, so we fight that as a constant battle. I know in Commissioner's ward that she's reached out to me the other night and brought forward a section of road that we've received numerous complaints about for the last 6 to 8 months, if not longer, and we've constantly reported to PennDOT and to no avail. So, but we do take the state complaints and we do report them to the PennDOT and reach out to PennDOT as much as we can to also try to move things through. So, but Commissioner Epstein has been very, very patient with, you know, with certain roads.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
we are
can't
doing.
pave them myself, so there's only so much we can do.
And you know,
Yeah.
but you know, we do, you know, every time we receive an email or anything of that nature, we do reach out. We do speak to the representatives and try to motivate them.
Well, we have another tool in our toolbox now is to blame PennDOT, so.
No, we don't, no. No, if it's my road, I take, you know, full responsibility, and we'll have staff reach out to the utility and/or my staff go out if it's our responsibility of a pothole or something.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Epstein.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I actually am going to say, because while we're talking, there are so many, I think we get so many emails about the state roads, and maybe this will make me sound dumb, but I feel like just having a marked map, if you have that, I would love to just have it so I can just always answer, because it turns out the sections that I don't expect are not ours.
What we can do is I will have staff produce, it'll be hard because of the size of the township.
I know.
But see what we can do to produce maps that indicate state or private.
Yeah, that would be very helpful with no rush on it, but I think for others as well, when you get those emails.
But we may have to break it down by ward.
Yeah.
So that it's readable, because when we do our paving map that
Right.
we use internally, it covers the entire conference table back in
Yeah.
the caucus room.
No, understood. I think it just might shortcut how many of us email you guys and, okay.
No, that's not an issue. And there's times where I receive emails and I know most of the roads, but there's times where I have to look myself again because it's from this point to this point. And
That's the part that gets me. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. That concludes Public Works for this evening.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Epstein. The next committees are Parks and Recreation Committee, and I recognize its chair, Commissioner Daly.
Thank you, President Sinai. We're going to open the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee. We have one item on the agenda. I'll begin by moving the committee to recommend to the Board of Commissioners the approval of a waiver of Township Code 111-4.2 as requested by the Parks and Recreation Department and Rising Sun Presents to permit patrons to possess open containers with alcoholic beverages and serve alcoholic beverages in public rights-of-way within a regulated area at the Bryn Mawr Gazebo, 9 South Bryn Mawr Avenue, Bryn Mawr, during the 2026 Bryn Mawr Twilight concerts. Do I have a second? Commissioner Zeloff, thank you. Donna, yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. So this, for the new commissioners, is an alcohol waiver for open container on public land. All of our parks, alcohol is not permitted in our public parks, but you'll see future ones come to you through building and planning for various special events and things of that nature. In the memo, I believe I put $2 million as the minimum limit for the liability insurance policy. It is actually $3 million, so I need to note that correction. We're entering the fourth year of providing the service to the patrons of the concert series. Seems very well received over the years, and they are just selling beer and wine. Patrons are allowed to bring in picnic baskets and things of that nature as well, in addition to the offering of the beer and wine. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
I have a question. Well, actually, do we have to do public questions first from the room? So are there any questions from the public in the room? Or on Zoom? Is anyone on Zoom?
No one's on Zoom.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes, Commissioner Gregory.
With that, Don, I just have a question. I know anytime there's alcohol, there's issues. I've done the Rock and Rise. Are they going to have a police detail that they have to pay for?
Police are notified, but they have, it's a different crowd than Rock and Rise. It's a very different crowd.
Well, no, wait a minute. I understand what you're saying. I've worked all of them. But anywhere there's alcohol, people are going to bring stuff in. That's why I'm asking, if there's an issue, why would our police have to be responsible for watching something like that also? I feel there should be a detail there that they, just like any other, we do the things over here in the park, we did things over here, we had to have details, police details there because there was alcohol. Anywhere there's alcohol.
Talk to the superintendent, absolutely.
Yeah, anywhere there's alcohol, I feel that, like I said, I've worked all of them. You always had to have a police detail.
I'll definitely check in with the superintendent and get his read on it.
Commissioner Zeloff.
Commissioner Daly, thank you. This will be the 19th season of the Bryn Mawr Twilight Concert Series, a wonderful amenity in our community. In the gazebo park that's near Ludington Library. It is a self-supporting program, although sponsored by Parks and Recreation. It is self-supporting. Commissioner Gregory, this will be the fourth year of beer and wine sales. I have been to those concerts. I have introduced some of the acts. It is a community gathering on a summer evening in which police detail would serve no function other than to cost a significant amount. It's very different, as Donna was saying, from some of the other larger events.
I do.
So,
I do understand what you're saying. I'm saying as a believer.
So it's not back and forth. So I just want to make the point that, the memo does provide on the back that Rising Sun Productions has a number of steps that they must take in order to manage the crowd, which to address alcohol, but management is really in quotes because it is a very an older crowd that is enjoying a summer evening outside. So thank you, Commissioner Daly.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from other commissioners? Okay. So I'm going to call the vote. The motion has been made and seconded. Can I have a show of hands, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Any abstentions? Madam Secretary, the motion passes by 13-1. Is my math right there? Yes, thank you. That will conclude the business of the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Daly. So we now have a special Board of Commissioners meeting where we're just going to formalize the decision that we made earlier about rejecting the highway equipment rental bids. So will the February 4th, 2026 special meeting, the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Lower Merion, please come to order and all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Byrd.
Present.
Mr. Courtney.
Here.
Mr. Daly. Here. Ms. Epstein. Here. Mr. Gregory.
Here.
Ms. Kramer. Here. Ms. McGuire. Here. Dr. Rossman.
Here.
Ms. Sparrow. Here. Mr. Timberlake.
Here.
Mr. Whalen.
Sure.
Mr. Woodring.
Here.
Mr. Zeloff.
Here.
Mr. Sinai.
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. So we have one item in the agenda, which is rejection of bids for highway equipment rental. So we start with public comments. There's the opportunity for anyone to make public comment. We had it already commented in committee. Anyone in the room wish to comment on that one agenda item? Seeing none. Jody, anyone online? Okay, we're going to move on. So I'm going to make a motion to approve rejection of all bids for annual highway equipment rental submitted on Thursday, January 15th, 2026 at 11 a.m. prevailing time as recommended by the Finance Committee. Do I have a second? Thank you, Vice President Woodring. That's going to allow us to rebid this relatively quickly. Any questions, comments, my colleagues? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? Madam Secretary, that passes unanimously. Turning to the next item, Commissioner Bernheim had asked to have a moment to say a few things, so I recognize him.
Thank you very much, President Sinai. This is a little bit unique and unusual. Our township is blessed with just an extraordinary amount of extraordinary people. And when there's a passing of any of them, while there may be a desire to make a comment about it, if we did it each and every time it deserved it, we'd be doing, unfortunately, far too often. But what I'm about to say, I ask your indulgence in that while it's related to the township somewhat, it's also personal. On Friday, a gentleman who was a dean of the bar, Paul Astor, passed away. And Paul was the founder of a law firm, Astor Newman. He's also the father-in-law of Fox, also drawing. Rob Fox, thank you. Oh my gosh, senior moment. Rob Fox, who served on our zoning board for many, many years and as for its chair. Paul, besides being just a distinguished lawyer, was also the first person to hire me out of law school. And he hired me to work with a woman, Sandra Newman, who worked here on Montgomery Avenue, lived now down the road from me on Writer's Mill, and then later in Gladwin. And while it was domestic work, which I hated, I adored Sandy and have remained friends with her for a long time. She became the first woman to be elected to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. She died yesterday. And it is just, to me, stunning, and which is why I asked for this moment of two just remarkable individuals from our community, not just, superb attorneys and professionals, but as husbands and wives and mothers and fathers, and I know their respective families. And it is just startling as these two people that were so meaningful to me in my personal and professional career, that and as members of our township, so meaningful to the township, if I could just ask you just for just a moment of silence for their families and for all that they did, I'd be very, very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bernheim. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned for the evening.